Red Sky Performance is a contemporary Indigenous dance, theater, and music company. And primarily we create work for adults and young audiences, and we tour to local, urban, reserve, and internationally as well. What's really important is to create a new work that inspires people and can transform society through Indigenous experiences, through art and culture. We try to move art that we create, which is dance, theater, and music, from a very human-centric place so that it actually brings in land in a way that can be transmitted and rekindled through the body. So that something happens when audiences watch. Let me give you a tangible example of that. Backbone is about the spine of our Earth Mother. So where the Western map would be, here's the Canadian Rockies, cross the border and boundaries. Now we're in the American Rockies, cross the border and boundaries. Now we see the Andes. And an Indigenous map of that same territory, of that same land, would be a continuous fluid spine of our Earth Mother that is alive, sentient, spirited, not topographical, but actually has a fourth dimension because it's spirited. And so it's really sort of trying to help people to see land, and when I say land, I mean star world, sky world, water world, I mean everything, through a new lens, through an Indigenous lens, if you will, and to help people have that singular experience with land in some way, even though they may be watching a show or one of our productions. It's a really, really important piece of what we do. Creating work that is inspiring, creating work that makes us within it, but Indigenous audiences to feel a sense of inspiration and pride. Because I remember going to so many things when I was searching for some Indigenous pride in the city to see something. And I would go to something and it would just be the usual stereotypes. And I'd come out of there and oh, I don't need to see more of that. I don't need to see that staged now. I already see that in life, you know? Give me something that's that's gonna elevate, that's gonna lift, that's going to inspire, that's gonna expand. Let's see those things. You know, we have incredible genius and innovation. Let's see some of that. That's what I'm very interested in. I'm interested in those kind of stories. I do this because when I go to bed at night, I feel a real sense of fulfillment. I do this because I have a lot of creative ideas and energy that I know wants to live in certain forms. I do this because I love working with other artists and building something together collaboratively. I love this because we can engage audiences. And I love it with children because when children truly see the work and they have these little stars in their eyes, you know, and for them, I love that. And they laugh and, you know, talk about it, and they have a story now for the rest of their lives. It's that meaningful that you could remember something that we have created for the rest of their lives. I hope so. I love to move people. I love that when we create something, images and moments swim in people's heads and their hearts for a long, long time, and maybe years, and maybe even forever. I love that. That's success. The more that people see us, the more that they think differently about Indigenous people. I think, you know, sometimes there's a perception of Indigenous art being a certain way, and or a certain caliber. And I love proving people wrong about that. Yeah, so we definitely break down barriers. And we are world Indigenous. So we work with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis artists, but we also work and connect up to world Indigenous cultures, whether that's Maori from New Zealand or Australian First Nations people or Mongolian First Nation, and off the beaten track of what is Indigenous too. Because sometimes people think Indigenous is United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, but it's more than that. That's just Commonwealth, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of Indigenous people out there that we still, I believe, need to embrace to really see like the numbers of Indigenous people in the world are very high if you look at it that way. I think art is also a mark of health. If you have artists, you know, visible and artists doing work and creating stuff, it's a real, it's a mark of health. It's kind of like, you know, like a healthy rainforest has a jaguar that lives in it. That's the mark of a healthy forest, rainforest. And I think that's the same with artists. You know, it's a measure of health of any society.